What's going on, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Eating Shit. If you're new here, the point of this show is to quickly come on here once a week and share the lessons I have learned with you guys in real time so you don't have to make the same dumbass mistakes that I have, or just learn from my experiences in general. If the episode provided value for you, share the show on your story or send it to someone you think would benefit from it. And also throw up a 5-star review on the podcast app or thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching on there to help me out with the organic reach. So, a little bit different for this week's episode. If you guys don't know, I have another podcast that has nothing to do with business or real estate most of the time with my best friend JP. It's called Go to Bed. And for whatever reason, went on a long rant on once we're behind the paywall on our Patreon side of things over there this week. So I had him cut up the footage from that, and we're just going to paste that into this episode here because it's relevant for this podcast too. So here's all the footage from that one, and hope you enjoy. So, financial tip for Patreon only, and not very actionable at all, but mindset is that everyone listening to this show needs to make as much money as possible, because a lot of people just choose not to because they either don't think they can or they don't even know like what's possible or what could be done, and so they end up just living very average. And I think that's what most of it is, just ignorance. Like, you get one thing I was working with my coach on, you see people, and like, I'm just not very empathetic at all, especially for the gas station employees that say fucking, hey, how's it going? They say, oh, living the dream. Fucking pet peeve. They more likely than not is that, yes, they could have made their better decisions, and yes, anyone can do it, but they just don't know. It's just ignorance for the most part. And that doesn't just have to be like lower class or poor people. That's the middle class too, is that like most of them just don't know. And when you
don't know what,
that there's like much more out there and it's attainable to anyone that wants it.
So there's going to be a lot of people that listen to this and be like, bro, I'm working 9 to 5, like maybe even longer, 10s. And I'm just tired. I got to make dinner. Let's, this and that. What's something that someone could do, but still has to work their 9 to 5 job without like a talent?
Yeah. Well, you don't need talent, that's for sure. And there's a million different ways to skin the cat. Everyone's situation is different. But I think really like mindset is the first thing of just recognizing and knowing that more is out there and it's attainable. Like because most people are like the yeah, but it's, well, yeah, I could do this, but I'm tired. Yeah, I could do this, but I have to work all day. Yeah, I have to do this, but I have kids. But for everything that you say yeah, but to, there's thousands of examples of people that had that same situation and much more that fucking did it.
Okay, I see that. But if I'm listening to this, I'm like, okay, but how? Like, if you could give like an example of like, what's an example to kind of change someone's mindset? That's an easy start.
It's hard to just give a example because everyone's situation is different. So that's why I started with that.
But like the funnel.
Right. So I think that's why I started with that, because it does depend on your situation. So first, if I just gave advice of like, oh, well, do this after work, there's going to be people listening to this that say, yeah, but I have kids, or yeah, but I have to do this after work, or whatever. That's why I'm starting with that. No matter what your situation is currently, there's a lot of people that have had a harder situation to start out with that still did like more than you even think is possible. So like ignorance is the first step, because when you guys see these people online that say they're making all this money, yeah, some of it is to like sell you a course. But then if you're like in the groups, like some of the groups that we're in that are just like for entrepreneurs and stuff, especially our one that's called Power Room, where we're like the biggest dirtbags in the whole group, like those guys, if they made $1 million net for the year, they would be like, what the fuck's wrong with me? And so again, like your network and who you surround yourself with, if you're around guys like that, you're just raise your bar. When you're around the same friends that you've always been around that are cool with making 60,000 a year, that's all you're ever going to make. Unless you're like an anomaly that can get yourself out of it, and then you're going to figure out all this shit on your own anyway. But always, I think we talked about this a few episodes ago when like Grant Cardone, he has like a bunch of clips where he's basically talking shit about like the Dave Ramsey method of he's like, yeah, you're not going to get rich off of not buying Starbucks is like what he says. And it's true because Dave's content and financial advice is for people that are like in debt and need to figure out how the fuck to get out of it and how to like maybe make more money on the side or something like that to just set themselves up for like a prosperous but middle class life where you're going to retire with a net worth of $1.5 million and blah, 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 which would have been 1.5 million more than if you didn't take his advice. Grant's shit is for people who want to be like him, where he's a literal billionaire and he fucking started with nothing. And so it's just two different things. But
Yeah.
Grant's whole thing, if you listen to him enough, he's always talking about increasing your income. And a lot of his shit doesn't make sense. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Same question you have for me is like, okay, got it. But how? But how? And then now that I'm a little bit farther along, I start to understand more of what he's talking about because he says this generic advice, but it's totally true. Is that a lot of it is the first step is just mindset and getting focused on that and like increase my income because a lot of people, 95% of people don't think like that. Like, how can I make more money? All they think about is like, how can I get a raise at my current job? And that's just not gonna fucking cut it. So to increase your income, like that's everything. You have to fucking make more money because I think that's what he always says is like, you don't have a spending problem. You have an income problem because you cannot decrease your spending into wealth. When you make $4,000 or $5,000 a month, you can't spend a negative $20,000 a month to get ahead.
True.
You can only cut so much and then it fucking sucks. If you could increase your income to 20,000 a month and keep your expenses the same, things are better. That's why he goes that route instead of the Dave Ramsey route. But like obvious, not obvious, but I mean, anything where you can try to control your own income. Obvious examples of that are like sales jobs where you're directly tied to your performance and it's tied to a skill that anyone can learn. So like if you can get into, that's what I wish I would have done if someone had told me to do it or whatever, is like, especially if you're young, 18, 20 years old, don't fucking go be an equipment operator because you think that that would be fun and whatever you can make at the mine is good, because it's not good when you have to live in fucking Round Mountain and work this shitty fucking schedule. It's cool until you're 28 and you still have nothing to show for it because you've been blowing all your cash on a new diesel every 2 years. But if you learn a skill right now, like sales, where you can go get a job, every business needs a salesperson, and every sales position is a commission base. Some better than others, but like you're tied directly to how good you are and how good you can sell. And there's a good company's going to put you through sales training anyway, but there's many sales trainers out there where you can even pay them $4,000, take their sales training and make way fucking more than that, because you can go get a sales job tomorrow where you're 100% commission. That's going to be very scary for a lot of people, but with enough time and training and all that stuff, you can make double, triple, quadruple of what you're making right now at your salary job. So like that's obvious. And that's not even like, I'm not saying fucking everyone has to start a business and you have to work for yourself and you have to take on all this risk and blah, 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 blah. It's like, you can just go get a sales job.
Right.
And
That's
fucking
nice.
make commission.
That's a great way. Not only sales, or yeah, I guess sales, but it this is what I want to say. I don't even know where I'm going with that, but like, if you are someone that already makes a lot of money and your friends know it, don't be like discouraged to talk about it, because that's what I
Mhm.
noticed too. Like, some of my buddies are that's the problem. Like, I don't, they've got to be well off, or they're like really well off and they tone it down, or they're well off and that's their spending, but they're just like, they feel it, like people are going to judge them for having nice things, and they don't talk about how much they make and their investments, and it just like hinders
Mhm.
someone like you or me
Right.
that's like trying to get info.
Mhm.
So if you have money out there, just don't be a fucking little trans bitch. Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, and it's funny because I know exactly who you're talking about when you say that, but they're probably right. That's the thing.
What do you
Is
mean?
like if they did talk about it how you would like them to talk about it, the other people that are currently their friends would get turned off by that, and they'd be like they get jealous about it.
Mm,
And that's kind of why money is like a taboo topic in our society and people don't like to talk about it. That's one of the best questions to ask someone is how much do you make? Because they fucking like squirm. It's like you're not supposed to ask someone that. It's like, well, why not?
right.
Like who cares? You
I
know?
wonder, like, what is it? Is it because people are jealous?
Yeah, I think so. And it's like I don't understand why either because I'm the same way as like I like when the rich guys flex their shit because I'm not a hater and I like seeing people do better than me because I don't play the comparison game of like that makes me feel bad. So now I'm mad at that person.
Right.
That it makes me feel bad for a split second
Because you're
because
not
I'm not
there.
there,
Yeah.
but then that motivates me to get there because that shows me what's possible.
For sure.
But that's
Like,
also
literally,
because
it shows you what's possible.
yeah,
Yeah. Not,
but most people that don't know that that's possible yet, they would see the same exact thing, same exact post, and they would say, "That's a scam. That guy's ripping people off. That's all rented stuff or whatever." And some of it might be, but that's because again, ignorance. They just don't know. But like when I personally know people, like even in our other group that's not like the high level people, it's more real estate specific, like they're I personally know people that have bigger businesses than us, and like when you go there or you talk to them weekly or whatever, is call with them. Some of the guys that today, it's very transparent because we're all there to help each other. So this one guy Daniel that was on a call today. He's from Hawaii, flipper. They syndicate multifamily, doing all this shit. Like he learns from us, and I see him as like I learn from him. And today, he's like, yeah, we got like 7 houses that are going to sell in the next 2 months. And these are all Hawaii flips. So they're like $1 million houses or
mm.
whatever. And this other dude, Dirk, on the call, he's like, damn, you're going to pull in a mill in the next 2 months. And he's like, nah, it's not quite a mill, but it's a pretty decent chunk. But it's like that, we're so especially being in real estate, even if you're not making that type of profit, say he's 900K profit in the next 2 months, like net, like that's pretty fucking good. But we kind of get jaded to hearing the big numbers because we're talking about houses all the time. It's like, oh, we could buy that for 300 and it's going to be like, 55 to rehab it and we're going to sell it for 5 or whatever. But then you think about it and it's like, well, 55K on the rehab, like that's what most people make in a year or more. We're just used to talking in that. So you kind of, it just whatever.
Mm.
But when you're around those guys and they're open to saying that, you know, in this same conversation, I'm telling him about fucking brokerlist.com, which is hilarious because it's a way that you can list your property on MLS for $150 without using an agent. And the website looks like a fucking toy. Like it was built in 2006 and they haven't updated it since. And it seems like a scam, but I've used it a couple times. I'm telling him about that. And he's like, oh, dude, it's like super valuable. Like, thank you. Because he was saying, yeah, we're going to use a flat fee service listing. I was like, dude, brokerless. It's like cost you $500 if you go directly to Congress Realty to do it. Go through brokerless, $150, and you'll still get it on through Congress. And he's like, fuck yeah.
Nice.
But it's just a good example
He's
of
on
like,
Mahalo, brother.
yeah, no, he's like Japanese, like from Hawaii. It's kind of hard to hear or like understand what he's saying sometimes, but
Oh, yeah.
um just a good example of like, you get around the right people and you're just exposed to those ideas. So then like any of those guys that see these same posts about the Lambo and my business did this and blah blah blah, we see it and we're like, okay, like, because it's kind of expected and the other people that you're around are doing the same type of numbers. So that's really like how I want to help people in the future is
Taken from Joes to
yeah.
pros.
Yeah. From just like, the people that grew up like we did and are very much similar to us in personality and stuff, and like helping them see the other side of it. Like I was able to see the other side of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then like, help people become financially successful that wouldn't have otherwise. They would have just been stuck doing the fucking shit work jobs. And that's
Yeah.
why I always talk shit about the shit work jobs and all that on here, because it's an easy way to slam you guys. But it's true. Like
All of our friends have shit
they're
work jobs.
fucking shit work jobs, and I don't give a fuck how good you think they are. They're not good when you're 40 years old and you're doing the same fucking thing and you've got a 1.5% raise for the last 20 years. It's not good at that time. It's just like being a busboy in high school when you make 50 bucks a night in tips and you're fucking crushing it compared to everyone else. But as soon as you graduate and then your friends go get the shit work jobs making 40,000 a year, the busboy job sucks.
Right.
And that's how people get stuck in the service industry too. It's the same thing, because you're fucking in community college and you stop going, but you're making $150 a night in tips because you're a bartender. And you're like, fuck, I'm making 45 grand a year, and all my friends are fucking eating top ramen, being broke college kids, which is really cool until 3 years later when all your friends graduate and get real jobs that make
100.
60,000 a year,
Yeah.
80,000 a year, blah, blah, blah. But usually that's where people tune out and they quit. Like if you went to
They
college
top.
and did this,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And then they're on cruise control for the rest of their life, waiting for retirement, waiting to do something cool, hoping that they can get time off, or, oh, this job has PTO, this one has a 401k match and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, those are all perks if that is your fucking bar.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to get to the point where like Ryan Pineda, the guy that we're in his real estate mastermind, that, I saw him with a clip. He has a lot of great clips that piss people off. Love it. And he posts them on purpose, even though he's not like a polarizing figure at all, but he just knows like if I say this, people will get mad because they don't understand. And one of them was like, yeah, I don't contribute to my Roth IRA anymore. He's like, because like the limit is $6,000 a year. And like a Roth is a great fucking vehicle for the middle class, because all you have to do is max out your Roth. Hit up Eric Olson, who's listening to this, to get you a Roth set up, and you fucking retire a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Set it and forget it. It's all you have to do. It's a fucking great vehicle if you're poor. 401k, same thing. Take that fucking employer match. Get the quote unquote free money. Great vehicle if you're fucking poor. Ryan's like, dude, I don't even contribute like to my backdoor Roth because his income's way too high to even contribute to a Roth. So you make 140,000 a year or something and you're maxed out of the Roth. But you can still do it backdoor, which makes no fucking sense at all to me. You contribute to the traditional IRA, and then they quote unquote convert it into a Roth. You just have to do an extra step and you still get the tax advantage. Makes no fucking sense, but tax cheats,
Yeah. That was gonna say.
But
some loophole at
Ryan's like, yeah, I don't even fucking do it because it's like literally not worth the time to transfer the $6,000 over there to do it, because he makes so much fucking money net from all of his businesses that he wouldn't notice if it was transferred or gone or whatever. And it's more worth his time to grow the business than it is to stash money in a Roth, because he can make so much more income, always thinking about increasing his income instead of how much money he can save. It becomes to a point where it's like, you cannot, even with investment vehicles, out save like the wealth that you can get from just increasing your income. Like you just have to, I'm still shifting out of this because I'm the fucking penny pincher and like hang on to every last thing you get, and you have to be contributing. And I still contribute to all of my shit every month, but it's really not worth it if I'm like kind of betting against myself is how I view it now, because that's like my safety net. It's like, well, I gotta fucking max out my Roth every month and I gotta contribute to my
I think
traditional.
like you're saying though, like like how you are. You've done that, and you didn't get stuck. So like you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to stop doing that, and like just like you're saying, increasing your income to where soon you're gonna be in Ryan Pineda's
Right.
spot.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like
Oh,
by doing
gotcha.
this, it's not like I'm hurting myself, it's whatever, but it's still like I'm still hanging on like, well, what if? Like, well, what if something happens? Like, well, at least I got this, or at least I got this. And it's like betting against myself to make so much more that like the last 10 years of savings, I could just save that in a month. If you have that
Increase your
mindset and
yeah.
just increase it to like a level that you don't think is possible right now, because even like many of the guys listening to this, like they don't think that 50,000 a month is possible. And what I'm talking about, like Pineda makes 20 times that or
Right.
more. I don't know. Like,
S
and
s
I'm not full of shit. Like he's very transparent with what he makes, especially when you're like in his group and stuff. Like he's pulling in crazy amount
like
net,
what?
like 20 million a year.
20 million a year.
So net, like his
Does that
actual income.
that means like his pocket?
Hmm.
As a business, he's probably making hundreds
Yeah, no, I think they're on the path to that. It might not quite be 20 million, but I think just his house flipping business is like 5 million or
net.
something. Yeah,
And net means like,
after all expenses, profit.
dope.
So, it's and that's just one out of like 8 or 9 businesses he has, and they're all growing.
Right.
So, and like even him, like there's just levels to this shit. That's what you figure out pretty quick. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I look up to him and like I want to do what he does. Same personality types. I just gotta fucking get there. But he looks at the next level, like Alex Hormozy, that had a fucking huge exit where he sold a company and made $100 million in his pocket. He's looking at that guy, and Hormozy's looking at Elon Musk. Like I'm studying
Mm.
Musk and Buffett and all those guys on how they do it. But it's okay. Like there's levels. But what I'm trying to
I wonder who
convey,
Musk and then look at
fuck, I'd probably
God. They
just the
probably look at
rest.
God and be
Yeah.
like, "Damn, if I could fucking float,
Yeah. It's just like your fucking
if I can
mission
turn water
changes.
into wine,
It's like, how do I
sick,
get on that level?
straight up,
Yeah.
part the sea."
But what I'm trying to convey is just the base level for anyone that doesn't have it yet is just like there's plenty of people that make 50,000 a month, and
So
there's
many
plenty
people.
of people that think that's absolute dog shit. And
What's that a year?
50,000 a month, 600 G's.
Fuck. Not even
Mhm.
reaching $1 million a year. You know how
Yeah,
many
and it's
people make $1 million a year?
and it's funny that the people that don't make anywhere close to that, they think that like just we as a society, especially with like politicians, we're throwing around these numbers of $1 trillion. Like no one can even fathom what $1 trillion is, or even $1 billion. And a trillion is 1,000 of those.
It's
It's
insane.
insane amount of money. So you think that like, oh well, I got to. It kind of contradictory to what I'm saying. It's like, oh well, if that person's not making $1 million, like they're not even doing shit.
Mhm.
Million a year. But it's like, do the fucking math on that. It's like 84,000 a month or something.
Dude, if I was making $50,000 a month, you, everyone around me would think I'm a millionaire.
Oh yeah.
Just the way that, like,
Well,
"Oh, I got dinner tonight." Oh, like, yeah, nothing's a fucking
yeah, because it's yeah, do the math on what your fucking ideal life looks like. I've done it. Like, it's
what's yours?
well, it's gonna change a lot. But what's on my board that I write every morning is I take home $100,000 a month from my businesses.
Uh-huh.
But
Net.
even yeah, take home. So net would probably be even higher because you're not going to take every dime from the business that it nets, but
Oh, I see. I'm
that I
confused on
take
this.
home like in my pocket because that is more than like what my dream life would look like. I've mapped it out before. It's like X amount on the house and like this much money for supercar payments, like 3 of them. And then it's got like the fuck you money of just like, I can spend this without thinking about it at all. I'm fucking saving this much. My parents are getting this much. Like every expense I've budgeted out like
Have
this
you added
life.
the helicopter?
No, I
You gotta
haven't.
add
That
that
was
one.
pre helicopter, but I don't think that the helicopter's not that much. When I was looking it up, it's like $1,200 an hour to run. Um, so
Damn, that sounds like a lot, though.
Well, it is, but like if you're fucking flying around in a helicopter,
You're
like
saving time.
yeah. If you
Remember,
go, if it takes me 15 minutes to go to Gardnerville and 15 minutes back, so it costs me $600 to go there. And obviously, if I'm doing that, I'm I'm saving an hour and a half, whatever that's gonna be. It's like obviously I'm making more than $600 an hour,
right?
and that's how Pineda thinks, and that's how these videos that he posts piss off so many people because they just can't fathom making that amount of money. But truly, if you do the math on what he makes, it's crazy. So like I think I've talked about it on here before, but he's got this video of like I spent $100 a week on haircuts, which sounds outlandish even to me. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. But when you think about it, he was paying $50 for a haircut and he likes his shit clean and he was getting it every week, but he was having to drive to the barber shop and then drive to the office after. So he just told his barber, he's like, I'll pay you double to come to my house. And the guy was like, okay. So the guy comes to his house once a week, cleans up his hair, and then he's on with his day. So Monday morning, Pineda gets a haircut, pays the guy $100, and he's out. So he spends $400 a month on haircuts. But if you just look at the time savings that he's already getting the haircut. And then if he's spending, say 30 minutes to drive to the barber and then 30 minutes back to the office, that's an hour times 4. That's 4 hours a month that he is saving by doing this. So it's like, and he's only spending an extra $200. That's only $50 an hour. Like Pineda probably makes $50 a minute.
Yeah.
So like, you just have to get over that fucking middle class shit of like, I can't spend any money. And that's a ridiculous amount to spend. Like it's all relative.
Mm-hmm.
If you make $5 million a year, what's a ridiculous amount to spend? Because do the comparison.
Yeah.
It's like a middle class person spending fucking $1,
$20 or $1. Yeah. It's crazy about all the businesses you were saying Ryan Pineda had. I saw this thing like before Trump had become president. He resigned from his businesses and he had like 80 businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That sounds like a headache to fucking deal with,
well,
huh?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like at this event, there was this dude, Chris Crone there, and I haven't dug into his shit too much.
Chris Crone from fucking 104.5. No, I'm just kidding.
It does sound like that. I seen his shit online before, and I knew he was like a real estate guy, and I know he basically runs a fund and they buy a fuckload of houses. I saw a clip where he said he bought like 6,500 houses in the last 4 years. I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
But he's on stage, fucking burned down the house, like crazy good speaker. And he was talking about that he owns 100 businesses right now.
That's insane.
But again, it's like a mindset thing, and that's I'm trying to get to even like where I can do a couple, but I'm so stuck in the day-to-day of the one that I can't even work on this fucking podcast, which is like so frustrating because you have all these good ideas that you can't execute on because you're just stuck doing what's essentially a job. And he's just at like a couple levels above me where that doesn't even seem possible to me. I'm like, how the fuck do you even own 100 companies? Because you couldn't even spend 30 minutes a week on each of them. You'd be at 50 hours if you're just spending a half hour on each of your companies per week. That's crazy. It takes me 2 hours to do the fucking Supercross commentary a week on Bad Touch. So
it does?
So I'm like
2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours.
How?
Dude, good things take time.
Holy fuck, it sounds like you just slap it together.
I know. Well, it looks like that too, but yeah, I gotta fucking, you gotta go through the footage and then, I basically have to watch the fucking highlight and then I'm like, okay, that would be good. I want go back, fuck up the filming. I have to film that 3 times and then you put the whole compilation together for $250. Now I have to commentate it, which takes even longer because I have to nail the line. And it's like, dude, sometimes I'll sit there, I'm like, fuck. And it's like, there's been times where I'm 15 minutes into the commentary. I don't even have the fucking intro done. I'm just sitting there going, all right, boys, 250 highlights, Glendale Supercross. And it's just like, I cannot nail what I'm trying to say with who got the whole shot or the hook joke or whatever. I'm just like, fuck.
Well, the end product is good.
Yeah, but it seems, and that's why everyone's like, you need to be in the booth. I'm like, dude, I would fucking suck in the booth. My shit is fucking thought out. I'm not writing it, but I just think of it, and then I can just rehearse it as many times as it takes.
I think you'd be good in the booth.
Yeah, probably all right. But
Me and you in the booth.
but yeah,
Oh, we'd fucking crush.
we'd
Numbers would
crush.
fucking
Couldn't be on
skyrocket.
TV because it'd be fuck every other word. But
Like that guy looked like he's drinking Bud Light.
what's A-Ray doing out there? It's fucking you
Yeah.
a Bud Light bike? Is that McGrath or A-Ray?
What's the guy's name on Bud Light? Like the trans guy? It was like David something.
Dylan.
Right? Dylan. Yeah. My buddy Damon from Trucker Chasers, like he's got a photo of me. Like I cracked this Bud Light, and I'm looking at it because it's all fuzzing, and I'm looking at it like that, and he like got a picture, and he's like. Sent it to me this morning. Like, look at you gazing into the eyes of Dylan. And I'm like, oh, you better delete that shit, dude. Like,
that's
fuck.
blackmail. But like, it just doesn't make sense to me how he can manage that much. And he's just at the level where basically like he has delegated himself even out of like the leadership role of the business. Like where I'm trying to delegate myself into the leadership role of one business, he's delegated himself out of that role for 100 different businesses. And all he is, much like Pineda, just on a bigger level, is a funnel through content to attract resources for the business, like new people that's like, hey, I want to partner with you. Cool. Now he owns that business. Or he's making all this content about real estate, and it's like, you know, either join his program to learn how to do it yourself, or you don't have time to do it, just give him money because they're doing it anyway. They'll go buy the deals for you.
Genius.
And like, you know, he's got 2 jets, and you know, he flew one of them there. And I was just thinking about that, you know, and he's like doing a fitness competition. Like there's always people like that, which kind of comes full circle to the first point here. And it's just think about that guy. Think about Elon Musk or whatever. Like, yeah, they're operating at a high level, but like that dude is a Mormon from Utah, and he's like 45 years old, and he owns 100 businesses, and he's got however many kids as the Mormons do, and he's doing a fitness competition. He's fucking shredded right now. And it's like, and you can't spend 2 hours after work to try to increase your income because of the but. It's like, no, it's bullshit is what it is.
I will say there is some people out there that they don't even fucking want to. They don't even think of but they're just like, well, I'm excited for the fucking candy dance this weekend. You know, like their life is content, like that.
I think there are people like that, but I think many more trick themselves into being content because
that's true
of so many buts, and then they kind of just settle into like, they get tricked into thinking like, well, yeah, this is pretty good. Especially like the college route. Like, yeah, I went to college. I got the job that makes $75,000 a year, and I have good benefits, good, quote unquote. And so like, this is it. And even if they might want more, or they might want to live that life that they see other people living, they're just like, well, this is it. So this is good. Like, this is pretty good. Like, I'm happy. But it's like, are you?
I think they are. Like some people are.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, and I'm not even talking about just money, because that's the thing too, is like people that don't have money, they're the biggest shit talkers about all the people that do have money and be like, yeah, but that guy's not happy. Like they would look at Chris Cron and be like, yeah, he's a 100 millionaire. He's going to be a billionaire in the next 2 years, but he's not happy. And he's the one on stage only speaking about purpose and nothing about money, because your shit changes. Like at first you have to be money focused. And then once you kind of fulfill your own needs, you can pivot it to other people or a bigger purpose or whatever. And like, that's where he's at. Like he started the thing with like, basically, these are my accolades. Oh, and also this is my schedule. Like I wake up at 4 a.m. and I do this meditation and blah, blah, blah. And then I go to the gym and I lift with my buddies for 2 hours. And then I come home and I spend 2 hours with my wife. And then basically he works like 4 days a week. He works 25 hours a week. It was like 5 hours a day. And he was like, Fridays are the day for me and my wife. Saturdays are the day for me, and Sundays are the day for God. And so totally would just shit on anyone that's like, yeah, but he probably works 300 hours a week and like his family fucking hates him and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. It's like, no, you guys never know what's actually going on. There's plenty of people that is the case where they take a lot of pride in how much they work and this and that, but most of the guys that are truly at a high level look at it the other way around. Like, of course they love to work and they're driven and whatever, but the vast majority of them have greater purposes like him. Like, he's half of his presentation was about this foundation that he started, a nonprofit where they fucking pick kids out of like sex trafficking circles in Mexico or whatever, and like put them
Gnarly.
into safe houses and all this stuff, because that is his greater purpose now
Mm.
than just business. And then like Eddie, the dude that runs the high level mastermind that we're in, same thing. He has a nonprofit called Impact Others, and like all about fucking going to all these like third world countries and like actually building houses for people, and like that's what the charity does.
I could see your nonprofit being just like, you're like, nah, those guys got the poor people. I'm taking the middle class people and fucking making them have a business.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Yeah, no,
sick.
it would be cool, because I was actually thinking about when we were talking about last week about doing like an indoor track.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that would be sick for part of like the bigger purpose and like a nonprofit type thing, because I don't really expect to be making profit off of it anyway, eventually.
Oh, I do. Snack bars make a profit for sure.
Yeah, that's not part that's a different
That's
entity.
JP Snack Bar.
Yeah.
Seniors out there
He
like,
sells
yeah,
fucking tear offs and Sour Patch Kids.
and nugs.
Selling weed at the track. But no, like, you know, you can make your purpose whatever you want, but I think that would be sick for sure.
That would be super sick, dude. I'm just super glad I'm your friend, because now thinking about it, bro, when you do open that indoor fucking arena cross section, I'm gonna have a snack bar.
It's fine.
And
People need snacks.
it's gonna be fucking good snacks too, like Costco chicken bakes. Oh, dude, those would fucking sell out there. A Costco chicken bake at the track, dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that? It's way better than the fucking Fernley RV on axles.
The Lions Club?
No, is that like,
Yeah,
remember that shitty RV they would make
yeah.
a fucking burrito out of? That shit was bad, dude. If they had a chicken bake, it would have fucking upped their price a
That's
lot.
before they got smart and they're like, oh, we should just let food trucks come here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is that's a good idea for like breweries do that, different food truck, and they just crush it. Like they should just have the fucking, well, they kind of do bonbon fires, coffee or whatever is always there.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they crush it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's good. Everybody get your fucking boots and gear ready. We got the Bad Touch Indoor Arena Cross Series coming soon.
Hold on to your hats and glasses, folks. No, I was actually looking this, I think it was on Sunday, just like browsing around. I was like, I think it would need basically, I was like, the type of building that you would need. I was like, I think if you built an airplane hangar, you could do it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in the interior, like no beams and stuff, and it would be tall enough that you could have jumps and stuff. And like I measured out a track and, you know, the size of the hangar and all of this stuff, but then I was like, fuck, parking is a huge issue for anything that I'm talking about that's like in an industrial area, because most of the things that you would be able to buy or build on in an industrial area, there would be no parking, because
You'd
it's
have
just
to buy
the building
2 lots
there.
or something.
Yeah, you would have to, it would be expensive as fuck, because I think you could pull it off with 4 acres, but I was like, you would really need like this building, the big ass hangar, and then like another smaller hangar for the go-kart track. And then the rest of it would just have to be parking.
Like a Costco? Could you jump in a Costco?
I don't know. There's probably
I think
more.
you could, dude.
Maybe.
Or not too high,
It
though.
depends, yes. Because most of the industrial stuff, I was just looking at what's for sale just to get ideas and stuff. And it was all like, there was nothing that would even be close. Because if you think about an arena cross, it's in an actual like basketball arena, except for livestock.
Yeah.
But so the ceilings are high as fuck, and
Right.
obviously you're not going to have a real arena for it. But then there are places that have indoor arena cross tracks around, and I was just looking at the buildings and stuff.
They have
Um,
stuff in the middle though, right?
some of them do, which would suck. It would
Mm.
be way better if there was nothing. But then I was like, ah, there's these metal buildings, and I was like, I wonder about a hangar because I was just in when I was in the JSX hangar. I was looking up. I was like, nah, it's not tall enough in here.
It wasn't?
No, not that one. But then I was looking at these other ones that you could like order and they come build it for you or whatever.
Oh,
And those ones definitely you could
that'd be cool.
because the JSX one may have, but there was this shit hanging down from the ceiling as like supports. If none of that was there, it would have been tall enough. And these ones, they kind of have this like these big beams in the middle that go up and then connect.
Mm.
And yeah, I found this one track in the Midwest that I don't think they do it anymore, but it was like an indoor sports thing. And I think they just did arena cross there for like 3 or 4 weeks a year. They come in and build a track and stuff. And obviously, like that one was big enough to do it.
If you did do that, we're like, even though we haven't rode all the nice dirt around the country, but from what you've seen, like what type of dirt would you want to import? Because if you're gonna put that in, you probably can afford a dirt import, right?
Oh yeah, you'd have to.
What would you pick? Like the red clay shit, or
Dude, the fucking like maybe get it in from the playa.
fuck, that would suck.
Dude, it would look sick if everyone was leaving the track and the RVs just
I forgot
fucking
it looks like that.
full burner.
Looks like they just saw a ghost or something.
Bug dust fucking out onto the
That
road
would
from
ruin
everyone.
bikes, bro.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it would be, but it would have to be good for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was thinking when I was like, oh, well, you could probably get a spot like that in Carson or Mound House or something pretty easily. But then I was like, no, that's like the whole point is to have it. The best way to do it would be if it was in fucking Sparks. Like,
Arena, yeah, like
yeah, but that would be even more expensive. And I think you get the same effect for like the Sparks industrial area, but just urban core, not you have to drive and all this shit. Cause I was like, even like Stead, I was like, no, it would, if it was like in the city, that would
yeah,
be the best way to do it
yeah.
because it would be central for everyone that lives in all the outside areas. And you would go and like when there was events there, you would be like at the Nugget basically right there.
And how nice, like fucking easy to get lunch, or like
Mm-hmm.
the mom could easily just do 2 blocks or like a 10-minute drive and have a nice meal to bring back or
Yeah.
something, rather than a fucking shitty burrito out of the RV.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go to a regular restaurant, regular hotel.
Yeah,
Like there's service. Yeah. No,
that would be so nice.
it's a dream, but it would be sick. And I think it would be a good addition to the greater purpose and like having a nonprofit and stuff. I don't know exactly how that would work, but I mean, anyone can file for a nonprofit and do it. But, it's, that's what made me even think about, well, it could just be a nonprofit because I was like, fuck, there's no way that this thing would make money if I need 5 acres in fucking Sparks industrial area and then install a hangar and then build a track and then the shitty financials of running a track on top of that. No fucking way. But again, with enough income, if it cost you $2 million to do it, but you're really passionate about it and it serves your greater purpose and you're worth $100 million, like, yeah, it's fucking stupid and you could have made way more money off of it, but you want to do it, go
But
do it.
also, you see, like it's kind of like you're setting yourself up to meet some people there too. Like if you're always there and you're the face of that, you're gonna have someone that is on that level of doing that. Like, thanks for doing this. Like, what type? Boom.
Mhm.
There's another business where that's just paid off in one deal, and like shit like that definitely happens.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
No.
why I did like straight up with golf. I was with Damon today, and I guess 4 at a time. So there was these 2 other random old guys, and they're like, "What do you do for work? Is it your day off?" And
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh shit, that's true. Like everyone who's golfing on a weekday is retired
Mhm.
or like day off." And I was like, duh. I mean, I guess if I talk to Damon about something, we can consider it work, but not really. And just hit me like, you can fucking, there's people that make crazy deals like what you were saying out there.
Hmm.
And like, similar to the track, you could just have like practice nights, you know?
Yeah.
And most people that do motocross and stuff like have, you know, decent jobs.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, it's funny that like Pineda literally has something that he sells that's called Golf with Ryan, and you can pay him 10 grand to go golf with him.
I think you told me about
Yeah,
that.
which
Yeah.
like if you don't know or like you don't view things the way that I view things, that sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous. And you would think like, who the fuck does this guy think he is?
Yeah.
But that's actually probably a pretty shitty use of 5 hours for him. But he does it because one, he can get paid to do it and he loves to golf. And two, for the relationships and the barrier to entry, because anyone that's willing to pay him 10 grand just to golf with him is not there to waste his time.
Mhm.
They have an agenda of like,
Getting something from him.
yeah, where's the partnership in the
Mhm.
future here? So like, he probably, yeah, he makes the 10 grand, but that's really just like the starting gate for someone to show up to him, for him to know like, all right, this person's legit.
Yeah.
This is going to be worth my time. What's the upside here for him?
They're
Fucking
driving
genius.
to the second hole. So, like, what do you want to get out of this? Or however, so he's like, see if you can work on my swing.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
what the fuck?
Yeah, I thought it was lessons.
Yeah.
Like someone has never heard of him.
That'd be hella funny. He's like, just take a look at these putts, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a funny prank
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, it is funny. Like, I mean, I don't have a course to sell yet, but like,
I do. If anyone's interested, just leave a review.
we'll make it on the fly. If someone
Exactly.
buys it, we'll fucking have it by next week.
Yeah.
But like, there is huge power in education, and of course, anyone that sells a course is going to tell you that. But you can really see like it does give you the fast forward button, especially if it's specific for what you want to do. You join a real estate program and you just like get around those people that I was talking about earlier, or like you just get the blueprint on how to do it, and it's just fast forward.
Well, you don't even sell it, but you do a meetup where there's a ton of information.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen growth from people there already.
Yeah. And it was funny. I was going to bring this up as a topic. I just couldn't segue into it. And this is still not a very good segue, but yeah, at my meetup, I've been doing it for years, once a month, and I don't fucking do anything except teach. There's no pitch, there's no ask, nothing. And yeah, and on face value, it seems like a pretty shitty use of my time that I have to, and I don't really even, I would love to grow it and like make it more valuable and more legit. And so I just don't have the time to do it yet. And all I do is teach. And because like I don't have anything to sell, it's like I'm just doing it for free. But I know what comes in return just from giving.
How much money you think you've got just from doing deals, like, giving from that one instance?
I know because of the topic I was going to bring up today is 1.2 million.
No way you've made
in gross profit for the business, not me, but
I know,
for the
but
business.
Just from the meetup,
because we track all of where our deals come from, and one of the categories is network, and the vast majority of network deals comes from my networking at the meetup. And not only that, almost all of our private lenders for when we were flipping come from the meetup. And again, like I don't ask for anything. All I'm doing is showing people exactly how we do, not gatekeeping any of the information, how we do it. I've caught myself doing that 3 times on this episode where I've left out one word while I was talking. But
you're hanging around me too much, man.
Just slurring. But yeah, so I like it sounds too good to be true, but I never thought that we would get money from the meetup, private money, like lending. And especially when we were flipping, I would just throw it in there. I'm talking about how we do the deals and stuff. And I'll be like, yeah, this is how we fund the deal. we just use a private lender. This is just like an individual that has money sitting in the bank that's not doing anything for them. And, we can pay them a double-digit return, and I move on. And like clockwork, people I've never met before come up after the meetup and they're like, I have 50, 100, $250,000 sitting in the bank. I can't find my own deals. I'll just give it to you guys in the meantime. Let me know what your next deal is. Stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, I don't even know you, but obviously whatever the fuck I said was credible enough for you to give me $250,000 on our next deal. So cool. But
what's the biggest lend you've had from one person?
Probably 550.
So they had that in their bank and they just like wire it to you or something, or
to the title company.
To the title company.
Yeah,
I see. And then their name's on it too, or how does?
No, because they're in. They don't own it. You could do it like that, where it's like they're an equity partner, so they actually have the ownership. But how we have done it in the past with the flips was their debt position. So it's like they're the bank for us. So instead of owing Bank of America, we owe this person,
right?
Which is really nice because you can just do whatever terms you can get with the person. It's not like you go to Bank of America and they're like, you're approved and here's the fucking loan fees and here's our interest rate and stuff. And it's like whatever you can negotiate with the person is the terms, because you're just dealing with them and it's their money and they can say yes or no. And then you don't have to get appraisals and all this other shit. That about wraps it up for this episode. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Help us. That about wraps it up for this episode. So thanks for watching. That about wraps it up for this episode of Eating Shit. So thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode. Remember, share the show for me, and we'll see you on the next one.